Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. And I'd say we got a pretty different show than we usually have because quite often we're just trying out things that we haven't ever watched before just to see, give our judgment on it, to let you know whether we think it's worth your time or not.
Mhm.
This week, we kind of ended up, I guess you could call it retread week.
Yes, because we both watched. We decided to watch movies that we had seen before, but not for a very long time. Although, in the case of our second review tonight, I had never seen it, so it was a new experience for me. But yeah, our first review tonight. Oh, we got to get the screen shared.
Yep.
Yeah, our first review tonight is a movie that uh, was very kind of pretty controversial when it came out, still controversial today, and that is Star Trek 2009.
AKA the one what JJ Abrams inflicted upon the world.
Yes, yeah, the one that JJ Abrams wanted to do a Star Wars movie, but he did a Star Trek movie instead.
Yep. And so quite often we'll go into like a bit of the plot summary, but I think that this go around, you've probably if you care about this movie, you have probably seen it. But just in case you haven't, quick long and short of it is that this movie came out in 2009. It was a attempt to revitalize the Star Trek brand, because I think it's pretty fair to say that like so Star Trek has had like a few pulses of activity over time.
Yeah.
There was the original series, which got canceled after 3 seasons, and then actually found more life in syndication.
Right, and thanks to that life in syndication, they made a movie, which was Star Trek: The Motion Picture. But that movie was it did box office wise, it did all right, but not, as we were talking before the show, not commensurate to its budget. And it got lambasted by critics because it was very slow paced movie.
Star Trek: The Motionless Picture, as they called it.
Right. Yeah. But despite that, they still went ahead and did a sequel, and they brought in Nicholas Meyer to direct it. And it was produced by a guy named Harv Bennett. And that was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Then that movie was a big hit. And yeah. And then.
But then I would call like the third pulse of big Star Trek activity, of course, was the success of the movies. They said, well, what if we tried to make another TV show? And so they, in one of the few good examples of a passing the torch story that actually worked on its own, we had Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although the first couple of seasons were a little rough. Although I will argue that there are quite a few good episodes in the first 2 seasons. But yeah, it was a little rough. And then there was the disaster that was Star Trek V.
Yeah. Which.
And and I will say, just real quick, the after Star Trek V flopped, Harv Bennett, the producer, he actually wanted to do something similar to this movie, where he wanted to go back to when Kirk, Spock, and McCoy were when they first meet at Starfleet Academy, and they go off on an adventure, and they're played by younger actors because he wanted to inject new life into the franchise, and plus the original series actors were getting older. And
more to the point, they were starting to command higher salaries because this would have been like their
it would have been
their sixth movie.
The sixth movie, yeah. Although they actually didn't do that, obviously, and then they did make a 6th movie with the original cast, which ended up being their finale.
It's good they got to go out on a high mark.
Yeah, exactly. And they had to bring in Nicholas Meyer again to bail him out.
The greatest hero in Star Trek history.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Yeah, and then I would say the peak of the franchise was in the 90s. Because you had two shows that were running concurrently on television at any one time, and you had a new movie coming out every 2 or 3 years.
Right, like that. I can't think of a lot of series that have ever accomplished that, if any.
No, it's very rare. Yeah. And then but then when Voyager ended, the showrunner at the time, or the franchise runner, Rick Berman, who took over when Gene Roddenberry passed away, or actually before that, when Roddenberry got ill, he was burned out on it and on Star Trek, and he actually wanted to let it sit for a couple of years, but UPN said no, we want another show. So then they did the prequel series Enterprise with Scott Bakula as Captain Archer, and that show was pretty divisive. There were a lot of fans that didn't, at the time when the show was on, a lot of the fans didn't like it. And there was a lot of behind the scenes turmoil with that show, which would explain a lot with like the inconsistency with it.
Yeah, I'd say that that show seems to have gotten a little bit of a reappraisal, probably just because there's been a lack of good Star Trek.
Yeah.
but speaking of, then the Next Generation movies, which they had been cranking away, had their own Star Trek V in the form of Star Trek Nemesis.
Yes. Yeah. Nemesis flopped. And I will say that movie, I don't think that movie is terrible. It's not great. But it's, there were parts of that movie I enjoyed, but it certainly had a lot of flaws. But by that point, I mean, it was right around when Nemesis flopped, and then Enterprise's TV ratings were really low, and it was at that point the franchise had grown stale, and so Enterprise was canceled in 2005 after 4 seasons, and then the franchise sat dormant for 4 years until this movie. And I want to say it was right around 2006 or 2007 was when Paramount announced that JJ Abrams was rebooting the franchise.
Right, and it's one of those things where, well, actually, just like everything JJ Abrams does, I suppose that it all looks okay in where it all seemed like a breath of fresh air at the time, and then the cold light of day hits it, and it's like, oh, this is not really a Star Trek show or movie.
No, it's not. He turned the franchise into dumb action movies, and Star Trek's not meant to be dumb action. It's meant to be cerebral. It's meant to be thought provoking. The action kind of comes secondary.
Right, like the closest to an action movie that Star Trek really likes to get is things like The Wrath of Khan, where you still have a few heady concepts in there and some and just a lot of fun sci-fi concepts like the alien brainworms and things like that.
Oh yeah, and also First Contact was I would say First Contact leaned more into action, but it had that was a very character driven movie too, especially with the focus being on Picard.
Right, and Spock for that matter. Or not Spock, excuse me, Data for that matter.
Data, yeah. Yeah, the Next Generation movies were mainly just the Picard Data show.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. But then JJ Abrams took that concept and cranked it up to 11. And I don't know how much of that was him, how much of it was Alex Kurtzman, who was one of the writers on the movie.
Yeah, Alex Kurtzman is possibly one of the worst writers we've ever heard of. then he leans in, but you have heard of me.
Yeah. Yes, your reputation precedes you, but not in a good way. Yeah.
Look, when your best script gets you sued for plagiarizing a B movie from 20 years earlier, then or
Yeah.
maybe 30 years earlier, you got problems, man.
Yeah, you do. um, but yeah, I mean, this movie, I think, I think at the time when I saw it, I thought that it was kind of, it was a bold idea to have, to introduce this time travel element where, the ship that Kirk's father is serving on gets destroyed by Romulans from the future, and then it just completely creates a different timeline, and now you're basically free to just tell any story that you want, and you're not really, uh, you're not incumbent upon what came before. Um,
Right. You can actually go and you can tell bold stories of that places that no one has been to before. Because like in Enterprise, for example, they had episodes where they ran into the Ferengi. They had episodes where they ran into the Borg, but because they were constrained by the timeline of the Next Generation continuity, they had to have it be, oh, they never actually see the Ferengi who gassed them on their ship and stole a bunch of stuff,
well,
or oh, they never actually put
yeah,
together what exactly this biomechanical thing they found was.
right, yeah. Um, yeah, and actually, I heard a story somewhere that if the show had, if Enterprise had been picked up for a fifth season, they were going to do an origin story for the Borg. I don't know how that would have worked.
Yeah, I could
Uh,
see that being very divisive.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, but yeah, but now, there those constraints aren't there. But the problem is, you still have to stay true to who these characters are.
Right.
And
New continuity is not an excuse to just totally remake things.
right, yeah, I mean, Kirk
That
still has to be Kirk, Spock still has to be Spock. I would say the only character in this movie that I thought was true to the original character in the original series was McCoy. Carl Urban. I mean, I think he played Bones McCoy like Bones McCoy. How DeForest Kelly played him. Um,
yeah, that's very true. I will say that poor man has
yeah,
he has the Henry Cavill luck
yeah,
where he wants to do these franchises he's in right, and they just never let him.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
because he did Dread and he did the honorable thing and said, "No, I don't care that it's going to hurt uh, my visibility on this movie. I no mask."
or yeah,
Or to me, not taking off the mask. I meant to say.
right, yeah. Although, and yeah, unfortunately, that movie, yeah, that movie bombed, but it has gotten a real cult following in recent years. But yeah, and that movie deserves a sequel.
Yep.
But yeah, like the boys, and yeah, um, and but yeah, like the rest of the characters were just like, they didn't seem like okay. Something I
Uh,
noticed watching this movie again. Spock was a real jerk in this movie,
and
at least at the
all
beginning of the movie.
all the Vulcans are jerks. It's kind
Yeah,
of it's kind of interesting because for a species that's supposed to have tamed their emotions with logic, they
yeah,
sure are cool with a lot of petty bullying.
yeah, yeah. Uh, well, I remember in Enterprise they did a story arc where uh, they're like, they said like, well, the Vulcans, Vulcans, we've lost our way and we need to get our way back, and then they get new leaders, and then they become the Vulcans that we know and love in the later shows and movies. But it was like, but it was almost like that didn't happen in this continuity.
Yeah.
Ugh. Um, and then the rest of the story is just like, and we were talking about this before the show. Like, if it wasn't called Star Trek, if it was just like space adventure, and you have egomaniacal alien with the doomsday weapons going to wipe out human civilization, and the only thing that's is going to stop him or this plucky group of eager space cadets on an advanced spaceship, it could work, but
Right, you'd have something.
you'd have something, yeah. But then you throw the label Star Trek on it, and then you have the plucky cadets being characters that are beloved, have been beloved for decades, and they're not really the characters. It's like, okay, you missed the point.
Right, and it would be one thing if they didn't have any connection to the previous show.
Yeah.
But they clearly do.
Yeah.
Insofar as because they have the time travel element where you actually have Leonard Nimoy's original Spock running around.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That also, I think. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say my hot take is that I actually think that the Romulans are like they are a part of Star Trek lore that is like very central. That, as far as I've ever been able to figure out, nobody likes and nobody cares about.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like as soon as the Romulans are in a story, that story is kind of screwed.
Yeah, they were basically the primary antagonists on the Next Generation, and they had
the Klingons joined up.
Right. Yeah, and I think they picked the Romulans because they had never been really featured in a Star Trek movie. Well, they were in Nemesis, but they weren't the villains in Nemesis.
Right. But like they're like always on like the fringes of bad Star Trek media is I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the problem with them is they're not your typical alien villains. I mean, they're not like I will say the Romulans in this movie are very different than the Romulans that we're used to seeing in Star Trek. I mean, these Romulans are vengeful, vicious, and vicious. Romulans in all the other Star Trek medium are duplicitous and conniving. Hence why their ships have cloaking devices, because they don't want to be known. They never really engage in open war unless they absolutely have to. Like, everything they do is behind the scenes. So it's very hard to kind of write a story around them with that being the central element, unless it's some kind of like spy thriller.
And also, like, just on a design level, if you have a Vulcan on the crew, it's kind of been there, done that, because they're just like, it's like the difference between, I'm trying to think of two peoples that have a similar background. It's like, okay, I've got an example that might could be canceled, but like, are you Chinese or Japanese?
Oh,
yeah. Like if you don't know anything about them, you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like once you actually know something about the Vulcans and the Romulans, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's very obvious who's who. But
yeah,
until you know better, it's like, okay, so it's another race of pointy-eared people, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and trying to think what else. Well, the other thing too, I kind of noticed when I was watching the movie was like Leonard Nimoy's Spock is kind of treated the same way that Luke Skywalker was treated in The Force Awakens. I actually saw there's some parallels between this movie and The Force Awakens, if you think about it.
Right. And it occurs to me, we've talked around the movie a lot.
Yeah.
Let's give a quick rundown of the storyline.
Okay.
So this is basically the original Star Trek universe, but with the conceit that this group of angry miners went back in time, and in the process of coming out of a wormhole, they ended up attacking a Federation ship, and in the process they killed Captain Kirk's dad, played here by Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, in his first movie. And
I didn't know that.
And he was this movie was everyone's introduction, or at least American audience's introduction to Chris Hemsworth, because I think he was pretty well known in Australia. But yeah, he was, and it was before Thor, because Thor I think was like 2010 or 2011.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So then we pivot to like Kirk being James Tiberius Kirk being this very rebellious kid who steals a car and crashes it into a ravine, and
while the Beastie Boys plays, which ended up becoming emblematic in the series since they used the same music in the last movie, Into Darkness. Was that
Beyond?
That's right. Into Darkness was their bad ripoff of Wrath of Khan, right?
Yeah. With Benedict Cumberbatch playing Khan. And then we meet Spock as a kid. Of course, for those of you who probably don't know this, if you've never watched any Star Trek medium, Spock is half Vulcan, half human. He has a human mother. And he's getting bullied by the kids at his school for that. And then he gets into a fight. And then he has a little talk with his father, Sarek, who was played by Ben Cross, who most people will remember from Chariots of Fire. They have this little talk where Sarek's like, well, you need to embrace being a Vulcan, and because for those of you who don't know, Vulcans actually are capable of feeling emotions. They just feel them more strongly than like humans, and as a result of that, they have to suppress it, because if they don't, they'll like wipe themselves out, which they very nearly did.
Right. It's an interesting dynamic where they are theoretically the most rage-filled species in Star Trek.
Yeah,
they've just managed to clamp down on it, and that's actually what makes the Romulans different, is that they didn't go in on that philosophy.
Right, and they left the planet and went to Romulus and became a whole other species. Yeah, and then we fast forward again, where Spock joins Starfleet Academy, and then joins Starfleet, and then we're in Riverside, Iowa, which is Kirk's hometown, and a bunch of Starfleet cadets are in a bar, and Kirk starts a fight with them because he's drunkenly hitting.
He's just so angry, and
yeah.
Like, what are you rebelling against? What do you got, man?
Yeah. Well, no, he was drunkenly hitting on Uhura.
Right.
And and then he gets into a fight.
Right, but I mean, it's more just like, why is he living this like wasted, degenerate life? Because because I lost my dad, man, and I don't know what to do with myself. And so there's Pike from who recruits him.
Yeah, and hey, D. Rhino, good to see you.
Hey, man. So from there, it turns into a very much a and then plot, now that I think about it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because then Kirk meets McCoy on the trip over to Starfleet Academy, and that's where we get the origins of why Kirk calls him Bones. Ex-wife took the whole planet in divorce. All I got left are my bones.
Which, that's up there with Solo's explanation of where Han's last name came from in terms of cleverness.
Yeah. And then yes, and then they're in the academy, and then we have the scene where Kirk does the Kobayashi Maru scenario, and then
for those who don't know, the Kobayashi Maru is basically an impossible to win scenario which in the original series Kirk did manage to pull off.
Right.
But it was always left vague how he did it.
No, he mentions it in Wrath of Khan. Yeah, because Kirstie Alley's character Saavik, she asks him like, well, how did you beat the test? And it's how it's depicted in the movie. He reprogrammed the simulator so that he could save the ship.
Okay, you know what? I will admit that I'm a fake geek boy, and I had forgotten about that. So I just thought that was a bit of stupidity that they had introduced. So my bad.
That's okay, and no worries, Dean Rhino. You know, we get it. Yeah, and then but then Spock figures out what he did, and then accuses him of cheating, and then they have the whole hearing, and but then there's a crisis on Vulcan.
Yep, and they have to, it's so extreme that they have to quickly pull these recruits out of training, and
yes, and man starships,
and because of an experienced Chekhov's was it Chekhov who piloting?
Sulu,
excuse me. Because of an inexperienced Sulu piloting, they end up being slightly late, which saves them from disaster.
Yes.
By the way, did they ever it always struck me as weird that it seems to me that a mining vessel, I could see a mining vessel being designed to be more durable than like a regular military vessel. Like if you're doing deep space mining, or if you're mining on like an extreme environment, you might be designed to like withstand extreme heat or something. But it's not like a mining vessel from today has superior technology to a
like a tank,
to an M1 battle tank or whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they wouldn't have any like armaments.
Right, which, like a mining ship, I could say, okay, you have like a super drill or whatever. It just always struck me as weird in retrospect that they had a ship that could take on a whole fleet of vessels from that time.
Yeah, and armed like a warship. Yeah,
right. It's like it almost would have been better if they were a military vessel and it was the Romulans, they might have decided to go home rather than try to get revenge.
Yeah, it is.
Because what's going, and what our heroes discover. Well, okay, so there's a bit where Kirk gets exiled by Spock because he accuses Spock of being emotional, and
I
am not emotional, and to prove I'm not being emotional, I'm going to have a tantrum and throw you off my ship. Now, Mr. Smart Guy.
Yeah, and that was that was after the Romulans destroyed Vulcan.
Yes,
which was like one. I remember seeing that moment in the theater, thinking that was like, what are they doing?
They're trying very hard to make a difference with the original.
Yeah.
And also, it's because he ultimately wanted to make a Star Wars movie, so he had to have a Death Star type scenario.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. He does. Yeah, Spock dumps Kirk on this frozen planet, but then that's where he meets Leonard Nimoy's Spock,
who had been dumped on that same planet, close enough to Vulcan so that he could watch the death of Vulcan.
Yeah.
You wonder, like, man, it would have been really funny if they'd screwed up and accidentally put him on the opposite side. The planet's rotation would have kept him from being able to watch it. Not that I expect Abrams to have thought that through, but
no, he's
Kurtzman for that matter.
Well, yeah, they're not thinking that far ahead. They're thinking, oh, we have to have a dramatic scene where Leonard Nimoy's Spock is watching Vulcan being destroyed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now and so that's where they basically spell out for the audience this divergence in time. Now I was thinking about it, it's like if they hadn't had that explicit time travel alternate universe angle on it, it would have been easier to write off some of the differences with the other characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you could just hand wave it away as, look, we're starting over from scratch. It's not like these are the same people just diverged 20 years at some point,
Oh yeah.
or 20 years in the past or so.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so to get back onto the ship, they proceed to do the equivalent of that Holdo maneuver in terms of breaking Star Trek technology and lore and logic.
Yes, with transwarp beaming.
Transwarp beaming that can go through the deflectors of a ship.
Yes. Traveling at warp speed.
Right. And this is like kind of the most like dumb action plot moment in the movie, because in a classic Star Trek series, you would have had their version of Scotty, played by Simon Pegg, trying, like, having to figure out something with his cleverness, as
Yes.
opposed to Spock handing him like, oh, here's the equation you're going to write in a few years.
Yeah.
Which, mind you, some people might say, but Star Trek 4 had the bit where they had them go back in time and give the recipe for transparent aluminum to this metals company.
Right. And they're like, well, how do we know he didn't invent it?
But the difference is that movie was explicitly comedic.
Yes.
So it didn't really like break the immersion.
Yeah, yeah, and this movie, while it has humorous moments, it's meant to be taken seriously.
Right. It is a serious action movie.
Yeah. Well, it was a movie made by dumb people who think they're smart.
That is unfortunately a great way to put it.
Yeah. uh, yeah. But I mean, long story short, Kirk gets command of the Enterprise because he shows Spock that he's being emotional, because beats him up, and then he gets command of the Enterprise, and then they go track down the bad guys and save Earth and save the day.
Yep. And there's nothing really interesting about the bad guys. He's just an angry man who hates goodness and puppies.
Yes.
Because my family die.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so all of this. So these like Kelvin timeline movies all have a formula. Part of that formula is vengeful villain.
Right, which, it worked so well in The Wrath of Khan. We can just apply the same formula every time.
Yeah, but you can't.
Well, why have? Allegories are for smart people. Come on. Like,
right? Yeah, yeah. No, you got to drive it in the really drive it into the ground. Really stick their in people's noses.
Yep. Why would we ever bother with we analogizing anything or
right? Yeah.
Having a point? No, we're just here to remind people. Oh, hey, you liked Khan, right?
Yeah.
Remember?
Remember Khan? Oh, I remember. Well, all I can say is I'm glad this version of Star Trek is dead. And whatever. Yeah.
Right. I think the last gasp of it is that Star Trek Academy show we're getting.
Yeah, which has already been renewed, has already gotten a 2-season order for some reason.
There's a level where once you have a TV show, especially a streaming show,
yeah,
like this is something I heard some people talking about with like the original Star Trek. A Star Trek series actually has a big upfront cost because you have to make a bunch of sets and things.
right.
But the thing is, like, the longer you can make the show last, the cheaper it gets to shoot because you can just reuse your sets.
Right. Yeah. They did that with a lot of the Star Trek sets when the TV shows were on in the 90s. And they even reused they actually used some of the TV show sets for the movies,
which is smart.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing I want to say about this movie is that it's a good cast who's really just wasted on some trash, unfortunately.
Yeah, I will agree there. Yeah, I mean, it's not the actor's fault that this movie was bad. Um,
And the other thing is that, like we were saying before, like if this was just Space Movie, the movie,
yeah,
um, it would not be a bad time. Like it's not a great movie, but it's reasonably good.
yeah. It's just a bad Star Trek movie.
Right. It is an awful Star Trek movie.
Yeah. uh, but yeah, I think I've said all I need to say about this. Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate that this is what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I will actually. I'm sorry. I keep coming up with things I want to say.
Okay,
Um,
that's okay.
one of the more baffling things they did was putting Uhura into the Trinity on the show and kicking out Bones,
Yeah.
because like in original Star Trek, the balance of it was always you had Bones, the not exactly the man of faith, but the man of intuition, I guess you could put it.
Yeah. Yeah, the man, humanity, very much a human, more everyman kind of
Right.
character. Yeah,
Who would butt heads with Spock, the man of pure logic, and then you had Kirk as the balance point between them, having to weigh both of their feedback and make critical life and death decisions.
right.
In this one, you have a pseudo love triangle where everyone is just kind of an irrational idiot. No, actually, I guess Uhura doesn't indulge too much in that because, uh, gosh, I'd be hard pressed to come up with a trait that she has besides basically being her character from Guardians of the Galaxy, but without the interesting family backstory.
Yeah, yeah. uh, yeah, yeah, that was definitely a missed opportunity there to have that dynamic with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. I mean, there was only like one scene in there where McCoy and Spock are going at it, and you had like a taste of it, of what they would do in the original series. I mean, you haven't had. I mean, McCoy, even calls him a green-blooded hobgoblin, which he called him in the original series. But yeah, that's
Yeah. I think it is very funny that when you look at it, like just on a measured level, I think that Zoe Saldana might be the highest grossing actress of all time, thanks to her parts in Marvel, the Star Trek movies, and Avatar.
Yeah.
I'd have to go add it up. I think that having two movies, actually three movies as of time of recording that made more than $2 billion definitely helps.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Like it's almost amazing that she bothers to act in anything else, considering that like whatever, like, as long as she negotiated well, whatever royalty checks she has coming in just got to be like fat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But no, that's all I had to say. It's like just
Okay.
big missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Did not hold up very well on a rewatch. It's just a bunch of relatively impressive stylized action with way too much lens flare. In a plot that falls apart if you really think about it.
Yeah, it does.
With a lot of uninteresting characters.
Yeah. Yep.
Now our other bit of media for the day is a bit of bombastic insanity that knows the lane it's playing in.
Yes.
The original Charlie's Angels.
Yes.
I should say the original Charlie's Angels movie. The original was a 70s TV show.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is not the Elizabeth Banks straight white men. This movie isn't for you. Why won't straight white men see this movie? No, this is the sexy girl Charlie's Angels movie.
Yeah, so I will just admit right up front that I've never actually seen an episode of the Charlie's Angels show. We were talking before the show about if we'd ever even seen it on TV in reruns, and like I can't think of a time when I even knew of it being on the air.
Yeah, I can't either. It may have it may have been on Nick at Night at one point, but I don't remember seeing it there either. The which is kind of interesting because the show was on, I think, for like 5 or 6 years. Um, and I mean, it made the careers of some of the actresses that were on the show. Well, like Farrah Fawcett. Although
Right.
I think I don't know. Maybe she may have
Well,
been popular
w-
before the show was on,
w-
but I can't remember.
did the show predate or postdate that one poster that everybody had in the 70s?
I think it may have been around the same time. Um, yeah, but she was only on the show for a year, and then there were a few other. I think Cheryl Ladd was the actress who replaced her. For those of you wondering, it was an Aaron Spelling show. Which Aaron Spelling, he also did like The Love Boat, which I think was referenced in the movie. And like Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place.
So he was basically the king of television trash.
He was, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I say that lovingly because you know what? Properly made trash is delightful.
Yes, it is.
I can love trash.
Yeah. But this movie was kind of a like a basically a reboot of Charlie's Angels. I actually looked it up. So apparently Drew Barrymore had the rights to the movie, and that's how we got this, because she was one of the producers on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's 1/3 of the team, along with Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu. Of course, Cameron Diaz, I mean, everybody at that point, everybody knew her from, like The Mask, and what else was she in around that time? I can't remember.
She, was something about Mary, right?
Yes, something about Mary. Yeah, that. And then, of course, Drew Barrymore, been around. Her family's been around for a long time. She was the little girl in E.T. and she was in Scream. Lots of stuff. And then Lucy Liu. What was the TV show she was on?
Was it was it contemporary at the time, or are we talking more recently?
No, at this time.
I will admit that I am kind of ignorant of her larger history.
Yeah, well, she was on a TV show, and I can't remember what it was. Well, recently she was on that Sherlock Holmes show, the American version.
Right. And she had a big part in Kill Bill,
right?
Which came out a few years after this movie.
Yeah, and she was also in Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson.
Oh, that's right.
But she was on a TV show at the same time as I'm trying to.
Go ahead and look it up.
Okay.
It occurs to me that sorry, sorry guys, it's fun to exchange like trivia and everything. So it's we've been talking around the show. But
Ally McBeal.
Oh, that's right. I never watched Ally McBeal.
I didn't either, but I remember seeing her in a lot of all the promos. But anyway,
but yes, on Fox or whatever.
Yeah. But anyways, yes, to get to the plot of the movie, such as it is.
The movie is like the A-Team in that it is part of that generation of remake movies that from before Hollywood began to firmly hate what it was remaking.
Yeah.
Basic premise of it is that you have these angels who are three vivacious young ladies who have a variety of combat and soft skills, who take orders from this mysterious benefactor named Charlie and a on-screen agent of his named Bosley, in this case played by Bill Murray, who go on various missions. And unlike the A-Team, I think it's just like it's almost like Professor X now that I think about it, where it's not that they're out there saving the world for a paycheck. They just have he's just a super rich benefactor who wants to do good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and so the opening scene of the movie is pretty interesting, where they're stopping a bomb on a plane. Keep in mind, this is pre 9/11 when this movie came out. So,
and it was the most like fever dream scene, because you have one of them is in a rubber suit, disguised as an African warlord of some sort, who has a handful of diamonds that he's going to pay for this bomb service with,
yeah.
and then the guy has the bomb on his chest, which is already ticking down, despite the fact that the guy who's the African warlord is in theory there to pay him for his services.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
and
the scene makes negative sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, and on top of that, he's the African guy warlord is played by LL Cool J.
I didn't recognize
Yeah.
Like this very quickly sets the tone. Like, okay, you're not going to have a good time if you're worried too much about logic, continuity, sense, physics,
Yeah.
chains of events.
Yeah. Yeah, and so then the girls get their mission, because they have to rescue like this tech billionaire guy who's been kidnapped, and he's played by Sam Rockwell, and I had no idea he was in this movie. And then but when they do rescue him, things aren't what they seem, and he's actually the bad guy. And
right. By the way, spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. Yeah.
Now, what I will say is that if I compare this to our previous review, Star Trek, I would say that this actually has better characterization and more story or character arcs than that movie. Yeah. Because they actually do so like where everybody in that Star Trek movie is an emotional teenager.
Yeah.
In this movie, like the three are distinct characters. Like you've got by the way, I always find it funny with these posters.
Yeah.
Like, that Drew had like the deal, my name gets to be up front and center.
Yeah.
But whoever staged the photo for the cover here
didn't do a very good job.
Yeah, it has Cameron Diaz in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cameron Diaz is kind of a ditz, but she's like an amazing driver.
Yes.
Actually kind of reminded me of Harley Quinn without the trauma.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
Lucy Liu is a genius who's dating an actor played by what's his name from Friends?
Matt LeBlanc.
Yes. And she, I looked back on some of my own crushes and interests, and I think, did Lucy Liu inspire that in a young me?
Probably, maybe.
Yeah. And then Drew Barrymore is playing. She's the punk, like she's the rebel. She's the. I would say she's probably the best fighter of the bunch.
Yeah.
And she's damaged. She has a relation. I think the actress was married to Tom Green at the time, and so he has like a couple of cameos in the movie as her. As actually a musically filled love interest.
Yeah. The Chad.
What's the matter? Was it the eggs? Was it the bacon? Was it the Chad? It was the Chad, wasn't it?
It was the Chad. It was the Chad.
As she's driving away after a one-night stand.
Yeah, he's like, it was the Chad, and he falls into the water.
This is probably Tom Green's best role, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Certainly not Freddie Got Fingered.
Yeah. Which I've unfortunately seen.
Oh, you poor guy. Oh, you poor man.
Yeah. But anyway, So I would say that there's like some interesting twists and turns. If
Yeah.
you, um, and what's also interesting about this is that while there's definitely like a proto girl bossy angle with it, they're like all kind of understandable characters with flaws and foibles, and they don't hate men, which is kind of refreshing, honestly.
Yeah. Well, not only that, they really like men.
Yes, like they all have romantic interests,
Yeah.
or at least an interest in romance.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Lucy Liu is probably the most like God. Some of the scenes in this movie, I just wonder if the actresses are kind of embarrassed by them. Like, Cameron Diaz dancing in her underwear in front of the mirror at one point.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu dressing up as a strict librarian dominatrix to go like infiltrate
Yeah,
a
that's
tech company.
yeah. Or Drew Barrymore licking a steering wheel. Like, whew, okay.
Like this is definitely this is like a I think this movie's PG-13, or else I would never have seen it when I was younger.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
But it is definitely like it is a PG-13 that is not afraid of the male gaze. In fact, this is male gaze the movie, which, from my understanding, the original Charlie's Angels was the birth of Jiggle television.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We were talking before the show that yeah, they couldn't make this movie today.
No, I mean you have a scene where Drew Barrymore has some sort of like it looks like she's dipped herself in shoe polish to look like a Persian belly dancer to infiltrate in one scene.
Yes. Yeah. They had that one the one scene where they show up to the one guy's house and they're doing they're dressed up like Swedish maids.
Yeah, yeah. to get a scan of his eyes. By the way, like everything in this movie is like if it's extremely stupid. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense. It does kind of fit. It's very like the tone is consistent. Like
Yeah.
they have things that are mildly serious, but it's never like super serial fate of
Yeah.
the or you get what I'm saying. It's like
Right. Right.
it's
Yeah.
never like dour.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. Like you said at the beginning of the review, it stays in its lane. Yeah. It has that cartoonish vibe to it throughout the whole movie, and you're not supposed to. Yeah, you're not supposed to take it too seriously.
Yep, it understood the assignment.
Yeah. Um, the other thing too, there a couple of one other actor we forgot to mention in the movie is Tim Curry.
Oh yes, he has a relatively minor role in it, but it's
Yeah.
very memorable.
Yeah. Well, let's just say if you've seen another one of his movies, Clue, his role in the movie is a red herring.
Yes, but yeah, like this is probably the most politically incorrect movie we've reviewed this year. Now that I think about it,
It is, yeah, yeah.
like
Uh,
like uh like you have Lucy Liu pretending to be an Asian masseur at this place, and it's like I forget if the name of the place had a Japanese name, and it actually now that occurs to me, Tim Curry's character is like an enormous weeb
oh, he is, yeah,
because like everything he's doing is like Japanese themed.
yeah,
But it's like I can't recall if it's like the place he was at, the massage parlor had a Chinese name, and he was calling Lucy Liu by a Japanese name, or vice versa. I just know
yeah,
it was like to quote myself in the previous review, like it's like whoever wrote the script like would legitimately ask, "Are you Chinese or Japanese?"
Japanese, yeah.
and bless their hearts, they don't know the difference really.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's I will say in current day, this movie is very was a refreshing watch.
Yes, just because it's so different and it reminds you that you don't have to be so damn serious all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was a fairly entertaining movie. I can't remember why I didn't see it in the theater. I guess it just didn't. My 15-year-old brain just thought, that looks stupid. I don't want to see that movie. I'm going to go see Mission Impossible 2.
Which, to be fair, your 15-year-old brain or your 15-year-old self was right that it is stupid.
Yeah,
I think that your 15-year-old self would have probably, you're probably kicking yourself like, darn it, this would have.
this would have been a good movie to watch. Yeah. Oh well.
Yep, you made up for it. It is currently on Netflix, although I think was this one of the ones that was leaving soon, or
the Star Trek was the one that's leaving. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Notice we didn't necessarily recommend you go rush out and watch that.
Yeah.
This, I'd say, if you just want a dumb good time, go give it a go.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Indeed.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, buy some books, and we'll see you next week. Everybody.
Yep. Good night.